What do you do when the world you built vanishes? When at 53 years old, you find yourself in a new country with a resume nobody cares about and a future that looks like a locked door. This is the story of how a locked door becomes a starting line. For 30 years, Milos was a man who understood systems. Back in his home country, he was a respected logistics engineer for a large textile company. His entire world was a complex dance of numbers, schedules, and pathways, making sure that thousands of intricate parts arrived at the right place at the right time. He had a gift for seeing the whole machine, for finding the one broken gear that could bring everything to a halt. He had a home, a reputation, a life mapped out. Then, in his early 50s, the map was torn to pieces. Economic collapse and political instability didn't just close his company, it erased the world he knew. Like many others, he and his wife made the gut-wrenching decision to leave, to immigrate for the sake of their children's future. They arrived in a new country with 2 suitcases, few $1,000s, and the hope that his decades of experience would mean something. He was wrong. His credentials didn't transfer. His experience was deemed irrelevant. The language was a thick fog he couldn't navigate. The man who once managed the flow of materials for an entire region now found himself stocking shelves at a cavernous big-box grocery store. The irony was cruel. He was a component, a tiny part of a massive, inefficient system he had no power to change. The physical work was draining, but the mental toll was crushing. He was 53. At an age when his friends back home were contemplating retirement, Milos was learning how to operate a floor buffer. He felt a profound sense of shame. He'd see managers half his age barking orders and overlooking glaring inefficiencies, the kind of problems he could have solved in his sleep. But here, he wasn't an engineer. He was the old guy in aisle 7. He applied for hundreds of jobs. Overqualified, said one. Not a cultural fit, said another. We're looking for someone with more recent local experience, they all seemed to say. Each rejection was a chisel, chipping away at his identity. Rock bottom wasn't a single event. It was a slow, quiet erosion. It was the moment he stopped telling his children stories about his old job. It was the look in his wife's eyes when she'd tell him it would be okay, a look that tried to mask her own fear. The lowest point came on a Tuesday night. It was raining. He was mopping up a spill near the checkout lanes, his back aching, when he saw a young family. The father, about the age Milos was when his own career was taking off, was explaining something to his son. They were laughing. And in that moment, Milos felt utterly and completely invisible. The great machine of life was moving on, and he was just cleaning up the messes it left behind. He finished his shift, the feeling of despair clinging to him like the damp night air. He got home, sat at his small kitchen table, and couldn't bring himself to speak. He just stared at the worn-out salt shaker. He thought about giving up, truly giving up. And then something shifted. It wasn't a lightning bolt of inspiration, it was smaller. It was the engineer in him, the problem solver, waking from a long slumber. He looked at the salt shaker. He thought about the supply chain that brought it to his table. The salt from a mine, the glass from sand, the plastic cap, the paper label, all these tiny pieces traveling from all over the world to end up in this one object. Then he thought about his job, the inefficiency, the waste. He thought about the small local baker down the street whose bread was always sold out by noon. He thought about the artisan cheesemaker at the weekend market who struggled to get her products into bigger stores. They had the great products, the big grocery store had the customers, but the system connecting them was broken. It was too complex, too expensive, too slow for the little guy. This was the tiny grit moment. He picked up a pen. On a napkin, he didn't write a business plan. He didn't write down his dreams. He just drew a diagram, a simple one. A small local producer on one side, a local buyer on the other. And in the middle, he drew a single clean line. He asked himself one simple, powerful question. How do I make this line possible? He wasn't trying to change his life. He was just trying to solve a problem he was uniquely qualified to see. For the next year, Milos lived a double life. By night, he was a stalker, but by day, he was an engineer again. He used the public library's computers to research logistics software. He used his lunch breaks to talk to local farmers and artisans, not as a potential partner, but just with curiosity. He listened to their frustrations. He used his meager savings to buy a beat-up cargo van. His first client was the baker. Milos offered to deliver her bread to 3 local cafes for a tiny fee. He designed a route so efficient it took him less than an hour. The baker saved time, the cafes got fresh bread, and Milos made $20. But it wasn't about the money. It was about the data. He was proving his system. He created a simple ordering platform, a shared calendar for local producers. The cheesemaker joined, then a coffee roaster, then a woman who made organic jams. He wasn't building a delivery service, he was building a hyper-efficient, local supply chain. He called it the clean line. He quit his job at the grocery store. It was terrifying, but for the first time in years, he felt like himself again. The business grew slowly, then all at once. Restaurants signed up, then small independent grocers. At 55, 2 years after hitting rock bottom, Milos hired his first employee. At 58, he had a fleet of 5 vans and a small warehouse. He was an innovator, solving a modern problem with a lifetime of forgotten wisdom. Milos' story isn't just about a successful business. It's a reminder that our lowest point is often the only place where we are forced to see the world clearly. When you lose everything, you are finally free to see what truly matters. His rock bottom at 53 wasn't an end, it was a crucible. It burned away the job titles, the reputation, and the pride, leaving only the raw skill that had been there all along. The world told him his experience was worthless, but that very experience gave him the eyes to see a broken link in the chain that everyone else took for granted. Your value is not in your resume, it's in your perspective. It's in the unique combination of your successes, your failures, your skills, and even your scars. That is the one thing no one can ever take from you. And sometimes it takes losing everything else to finally understand its true worth. Share your thoughts in the comments below. We read everyone.